Okay, looks like we got to go. Sweet. So, and then, so I will share for a bit, stop, check the phone to see if there's any comments, and be support since this is live. And then we'll go from there. Cool. So to recap, the impetus for this sharing, this next 3 nights, so tonight, December 1st, live, then tomorrow, the 2nd, and then Thursday, the 3rd, will be the final, came from, as I shared last night, an inspiration from going to see a dear friend who's fighting for his life. And while I was with him, or actually while I was flying, I was listening to some music. It was an old Pink Floyd song. The lyrics, the actual song, and some lyrics are in the link below this live video. It's called On the Turning Away. And it stimulated me to get back in the game to share for the public. I've been teaching this information to my clients, and I lived my life by it for years. And I realized that I had, as part of the lyrics, joined in part of the turning away. Because I just got fed up with people arguing for their limitations, buying into a paradigm that's antithetical to mine. So I wasn't trying to convince somebody. I just got tired of trying to feel like I was convincing people to remember who they are and claim their greatness instead of buying into a story that's counterproductive to who they really are and their potential. So this is meant, tonight is going to be gentle. I'm never going to go into politics. But it's about reclaiming your ability to heal yourself, right? So that's the intent tonight. I'm going to cover 3 main topics. I'm going to compare, contrast 2 models, the current healthcare model and a model that I live by. You pick and choose. And then I'm going to, from there, slide into ways that we can, that you can take inventory and clean house, which will make sense after I do the step 1. And then the third one will be a gift to do some deep healing in your life overall, something you'll get to do, right? So these are practical steps. Cool? That's the context. So thanks for being here. If this resonates, please share it with friends and loved ones. That's what it's here for, right? There's no charge for this. And so let me start with this. So why should you care, right? Why should you care? Why should you listen to me? Well, let me put it this way. I have nothing invested in this but seeing you grow and come alive versus the predominant model that's being fed to everybody around the world. Those folks that are speaking it and teaching it, they have a serious interest in that. And it's an economic interest worth trillions of dollars. And so they will do all kinds of things, including sell their soul, in order to keep perpetuating a story to you. I don't have that interest. I'm not affiliated with any company. I'm not even here to sell you anything. I am here to hopefully inspire you to choose a path that's honoring to you, right? What you do with that's up to you, because it's your life, right? So that's the deal. Part of what I would like to support everybody to do is I've worked with a lot of people who are making their transitions, right? So I take care of a lot of people who are entering the world, right, in the birthing process over the last 37 years. And I've also been at the bed of a lot of people who are making their transition, leaving their body, dying process, right? And I've shared this before, but I love this. It was a book by Bronnie Ware. And she was a nurse working with a lot of folks in hospice. So these people were terminally ill and they were about to make their transition. And she saw this consistent theme pop up through all of the folks. And it doesn't matter their background, their socioeconomic status, their occupation, anything. But it was consistent from a humanistic level. And so she wrote a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying, right? And they're this. Number one, and they're in order. So the number 1 regret for the people who were about to make their transition. I wished I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me, right? That's huge. So everybody take a breath and tap into that. I wished I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Well, right now, the world expects you to live a different life. That might be contrary to the one that's true to yourself. Really take that in. Second one, I wished I had not worked so hard, right? How about that? Third one, I wished I had the courage to express my feelings openly, not just in the closet, not in the car, screaming at yourself, right? But the joy and the passion, and to tell people that you love them, and the entire gamut of expressing your feelings. Remember, these were the 5 consistent regrets of people that were making their transition. Number 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I got to say this because the friend that I went to see, we were adolescent friends all the way through high school, and then our paths took different ventures, and we didn't stay in contact. I didn't stay in contact with this person, so I get that. Number 4 is huge, right? So I get to take inventory about that. And then the 5th one was I wish I had let myself be happier, right? Because remember, happiness is a choice. Happiness is the way. And so here's the concept, right? So if these were the 5 regrets of most consistent regrets of people making the transition. So how do we live a life to not have regrets? Meaning at your deathbed, you don't have these. Ha! Reverse engineer this, right? Not a mystery. So let's go back up the chain. Let yourself be happy. Stay in touch with your friends. Have the courage to express your feelings. Don't work so damn hard. Meaning, work hard, but play hard too. And then have the courage to be true to yourself and live a life that's true to you, not one expected of others, right? So if you just reverse engineer the 5 regrets, you won't have the regrets. I know that sounds like Captain Obvious, but putting it into play is a whole other story, right? So that's kind of the context that I would like to share from tonight, and then adding to the place of misinformation about what most people watching this, because I sure was given that misinformation about how my body works and how I'm supposed to or allowed to work with it. Yep. So I'd like to compare and contrast a couple basic models. The current predominant model that perpetuates the world right now and has for a very, very long time really looks like this, according to my perspective and vision. So model 1, if you will, or model A, is that you are your machine that breaks down and gets sick without any correlation to life. Just indiscriminately, this crap happens. It just breaks down periodically at whim with no heads up, and it gets sick. And the only way to take care of this machine, you, is to go to these special people called doctors who then prescribe drugs and or do surgeries, right? So it's a very mechanical process. That's the predominant model of so-called healthcare. And you know it, I know it, I grew up with it, I no longer use it, I haven't used it in close to 40 years. It's great for crisis care. That's a great crisis care model, but it's not a healthcare model. Now, I'm not here to take that away from you. I'm here just to point out the contrasting viewpoints. You, because it is your life, you get to choose which one serves you. I'm asking you to listen and listen to from here, right? From your heart, not from your head, about which one really resonates to your viewpoint of life, your worldview, your personal philosophy about health and healing, and then live it, right? Live just like the number 1. Live a life true to yourself. So the life that I live is very true to myself, really congruently true. Might not be for you, but it definitely is for me. I'm asking you to check into yours, though. Is it really yours? So contrasting model A. Contrasting model B, if you will, which is you're not a machine, but you're a pure intelligence that has unlimited potential. So a machine that learned to think, or pure potential that created a body and gets to express itself. And when the body-mind, your vehicle, is expressing itself, symptoms, right? So in this world, a symptom gets to be sedated, and in this world, a symptom gets to be listened to. Because the recognition from this model says, what are you trying to tell me? Because I know that somewhere in my life, I'm out of balance. And so since I'm not a broken machine, and I'm not weak and fragile and pathetic, the intelligence of my system is getting my attention to say, hey, somewhere in your life you're out of balance. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, somewhere. And it's just a feedback loop to say, hey, pay attention to this. That could show up in all kinds of ways, right? And I'll go into that in a little deeper, but from headache to a tumor popping out of my chest. Whatever that is, it's a signal or a sign to say, hello, knock, knock up there. And it's proportional to the degree that I've not been paying attention to my life. This is clinically true for me across the border. Now, That same experience happens to all humans, all living systems actually, animals, any living entity. The Model A just wants to shoot the messenger, cut it out, kill it, stab it, and move on. Never investigating what was that about in the first place. Model B never sees it as a mistake or something gone awry. It says, hey, information, check into it. And once you do and take appropriate action, your system will create resolution. You'll actually heal, get stronger as time gets by, right? That's really important. You'll heal and get stronger as time goes by. In this model, you get sicker and weaker as time goes by. That's not an opinion, that is fact. Look at the world. Matter of fact, why do you think we're in the crisis that we are right now? It's because we have a lot of compromised people. That means the model that we've been using before 2020, well, that's not that many years, before 2020, hasn't been working. Because if the model for healthcare had been working, when 2020 came, there would be very few compromised people, and we'd all be okay. You see that simple logic? So it just gives feedback that the model doesn't work for healthcare, only for crisis care. So therefore, do you want to keep using the same model that doesn't get you healthy? That's up to you. Go ahead. I'm not here to take it from you. I'm just letting you know that there's another way. Well, there's a bunch of other ways, but there's definitely another way to choose in order to really get strong and healthy and not guess, right? Speaking of guessing, there's a word used in Model A, and it's called diagnosis, right? So diagnosis is what these folks do, these professionals, when you come in, to then assess your system and give you a diagnosis or a label to then make a treatment program. But check out the word, right? Diagnosis. Di means two. Agnosis means lack of knowledge. So in the Greek terminology, diagnosis is two people that don't know. That's you and the professional. Because it then becomes guesswork. And then you end up paying the price for that. How can I say that? Well, let's even look at that. Mayo Clinic, considered one of the top facilities for diagnosis in the world in Model A's paradigm. So when primary care physicians make a diagnosis and somebody wants a second opinion, they'll go to Mayo Clinic. Right here, I'm just reading it right off. You can go find it on the internet. Many patients come to Mayo Clinic for a second opinion or diagnosis confirmed before treatment for a complex condition. In a new study, Mayo Clinic reports that as many as 88% of those patients go home with a new or refined diagnosis. 88%, meaning the diagnosis was incorrect for 88% of the people that showed up at Mayo Clinic. That means 88% of the people that go to the other regular physicians, or not regular, but people around the world, right? Matter of fact, even the Mayo Clinic, comparing their diagnostic rates after autopsy, I mean diagnosis, person was treated, whatever time frame later, they died, they did an autopsy, and then now that the body could be open to see exactly what was going on, they were off quite a bit themselves, right? So again, I'm just putting this out there. Please understand, I am not attacking anybody. I'm not making anybody wrong. That's not the point of this. It's to give you information, to wake you up so you can choose, do I want to keep putting my life force, my life in the hands of a model like that? Or if there's another way, would you choose it, right? Cool. If not, hit delete, go about your day, whatever that is, right? So again, I grew up in this model. I get it. Not only did I grow up personally, but I grew up in a family that ran this model. And then life gave me different information, different experiences, and I took a different path. So for the last 37 years as a professional, I don't use this model at all, ever, zero, because I don't have to. Not because it's bad. I don't need it because I live a different way. And that different way gives me a completely different outcome and a completely different reality about my health and well-being. No pills, no potions, no lotions, no surgeries. Now, before the model, I took all those pills and potions and lotions and had surgeries as well because I didn't know any better. I didn't know there was another way. And now I do, and now I'm an expert in that field. That's why I'm taking this time to share that with you. Because I know, just like I didn't know before, I know that many of you and most people around the world do not know that there's another way. Remember, you showed up on the planet in this vehicle, and nobody gave you a manual and said, this is how it works. But a real manual that really went with this vehicle. You get a manual for your computer and your smartphone and your car, but you don't get a manual for this vehicle. And the people that tell you how it works, it's a bad manual, because it's not how it works, and it's not what's possible in the healing dynamic. Yep. So, let's do some basic common logic about those two models, right? Well, let's just focus on model B, if you will. Since there's this intelligence that I mentioned that speaks to communicate with us, so it's not breaking down and broken, how does that work? Like, just some of the stuff we take for granted. And this intelligence isn't just in you, it's in all living systems. Plants, cats, dogs, the animal kingdom, right? Like if you take a seed, turn it upside down and stick it in the ground and give it all the proper requirements, right? Sunlight and soil and water. It'll start to nourish, flourish, and grow. It begins to actually grow down, like grow to China, right? But then it turns and heads back up this way and comes up. How does it know to do that? How does it know that the sun is shining up this way and it makes a turn? It didn't go left or right or just keep going straight. It turned and went back. How does it know? Because there's an intelligence inside. How does an acorn turn into, a multi-100-foot oak tree? How does it do that? Because there's potential, there's wisdom. It's dormant, but it's there. Inside of all of us is this maximum potential, dormant, that needs to be awakened. When you cut yourself, you don't have to go to any kind of school, but eventually that thing stops bleeding, it forms a scab, and then later, you don't even know where you cut yourself. That's like miraculous. We just take it for granted. I know I did. How does that happen? How does the body, because there's an intelligence in there that knows, hey, that's a wound and we need to close it. And the chemical processes that are required just to do a simple mending of a wound. How about a broken leg? It's not the cast that heals. Trust me, I've broken parts and don't put casts on, and they do heal. I can tell you, right, personally. It's the body that heals. Yeah, casts might be important sometimes to keep parts in alignment so it can heal easier, but it'll heal nonetheless. Broken hearts, broken minds, we can heal all those things, people. We've just been told we can't. Like Model A, just turn on the TV. Well, actually, I would support you to not turn on the TV. Personally, I threw a TV away 20 years ago. Don't have one. But since the majority of people do, what is it? 2 out of 3 commercials are drug commercials. And those commercials are unbelievable. I've seen a few of them when I travel, and holy smokes, 99% of the commercial is about how you're going to die and fall apart with all these crazy ailments by taking this chemical in your body compared to what it's going to treat. Quite impressive. Yet people still request them. It's like mind-boggling to me. But that's the amount of constant education, right? When you have a $100 billion budget that you can keep educating people that this is important to put in your body, bah! Versus there's some simple, mostly natural and free things you can do to clean up, detoxify your body, let your body make its own chemistry to get well and rebalance again. Your body is the biggest drugstore on the planet. It makes everything you need to be healthy, everything. And the right exact amount for you every single time, every single moment, every single day. When you let it work right. Now, when we abuse it from stress and toxicity and worries and fear and junk food and poisons and drugs, then we throw it into chaos and disarray. It's not breaking. We're just messing it up. Yep. That's called ownership. That's for us to get back into balance. Cool? So again, back to these simple contrasting models. You're a broken machine that just falls apart and gets sick and ill, or you're an intelligence that lives inside this body, that co-communicates with this body, and then it speaks through the body to get your attention because you're not paying attention. Doesn't matter if it's a headache, upset stomach, or any other label or condition you'd like to call it. You're not sick and falling apart. It's communicating to you to get you in the game, to reestablish your life so you can get healthy and well again. Different outcomes, completely different outcomes. Your call. Which road do you want to take? Yeah. So I'm going to stop in that because that's the kind of part one piece, and to see if anybody's hanging with me and if there's any questions or comments. So if you do have a question or a comment or suggestion or need for clarity, put it in the comments right below, and I'm going to look here. I do have a slight lag time in this live, so I'm going to quit talking and watch. And if there's no comments, then I'm just going to keep going. Nothing's showing up on my end at this point, so yeah. Okay, then I'll just keep going. Second point. So first point, gently comparing and contrasting two models. Second point is, what can you do for yourself then, right? To what I call take self-inventory. I've taught this concept before quite differently than I'm going to do tonight, but it falls under the same category. Manage your environment. So take inventory. What's going on with you physically? What's going on with you psychologically, mentally, emotionally? What's going on with you socially? What's going on with you spiritually? However you define those things. And where can you clean house, right? So when I'm managing my environment, and I find that I'm around negative people, that's on me, because being around negative people is toxic. So if I stay in that environment, I can play victim and blame everybody, or I can take my life back and live consciously and choose not to be in that environment and remove myself from the environment. Remember, I put this paper down, so let me grab it again. Number 1, regret of the dying. I wished I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So if you're around negative people and they expect you to stay, that's on you, letting them control your life. It is, right? So straight up, grow up and take your life back. This is a wake-up call, people, right? This is free, and I'm offering support to you. But I am going to challenge you in that support. A life true to yourself. Set yourself free. Take inventory. What's working, what's not. And what's not, right? It's not complex. We want to complicate it. And quite frankly, after doing this for decades, one of the things that really comes up for most of us is we pretend that we don't know. Whatever that is. But we do. We just don't want to acknowledge it, because once we do, now we're responsible to take actions. And a lot of times we feel that we don't have the fortitude to take the action. It could be emotionally challenging. Maybe it's a relationship that needs to be healed like this or like this. And if I can pretend I don't know what's going on, I don't have to take action. But we stay and suffer. It's an occupation, right? I should get out of it. I pretend I don't know. Or to start a new career. What is it going to take? I don't know. Nonsense. You do. Trust yourself. You have more wisdom than you give yourself credit for. So take some courage, take some action, take self-inventory, check into your environment. And when I mean environment, everything. How is your body working? And recognize what parts are working, what parts are not working. And you're smart enough to start basic movements and inventory into that process to begin a gentle and natural recovery to get healthy again. And if you're not sure, put some comments down below and ask me, and I'll help you out the best I can. I'll send you in the right direction, right? I'm not here to solve your problems, but I'm here to help you solve your problems, challenges. Cool. So, yeah. So take inventory. That's the first. Quit pretending you don't know. Get clear, get honest, get courageous, and take inventory. Your relationships, your well-being. What do you need to change, right? Here's, in closing, here's a gift. This piece is really profound, and a good friend of mine. So hello, Mr. Jeffrey Boardman. Jeffrey shared this piece a couple years ago in a mastermind that I was in the most impeccable way, just astonishing. So he's given me permission to share this with everybody as well. And it's what he's called the gratitude tour. Now I'm going to share the way he did it, created it, and went through it and shared it with us. And then because of today's environment, I still support you to do that. I would do it just like he did it today, and you'll understand what I mean in a second. But we can modify it with today's technology because of today's environment if you feel that's so fit, meaning there's no excuse not to do it. Yep. So here's the deal. The gratitude tour was this. Make a list of 25, 50 people, however big you want to make it, people that were massively influential in your life. Now, here's the cool part, and this is what I really loved about what Jeffrey did. He clarified what influential meant to him, and it resonates 100% to me. So influential could be positive role models, right? Your parents, a teacher, a coach, some mentor, a classmate, a neighbor, a teacher, or a preacher, or a rabbi, or whoever, but somebody that intervened in your life and propelled you forward, right? Those are obvious, and they're really important. But here's the other one that oftentimes is even more profound. Sometimes if we haven't done the work, we still don't see it yet. We don't see the gift in that. But these are the people that initially you didn't care for. Let me put it that way. The bully down the street. The person that called you names or criticized you. The person that said you were no good or you weren't smart enough. And you get it, right? We can go down that line, including to the point of people who might have abused you or harmed you. When you've healed and done the forgiveness work, then you can add them to the list, because by doing so, the gift that they've given us, me, for the experiences I went through, always bring you on a stronger side of that process. So, whoever it is you put on that gratitude tour was to make a plan and actually go physically see each and every one of them. And sometimes as a surprise, like just show up at the door, knock, introduce, and just say, I'm here to let you know that you influenced my life in this way. And what this does, sometimes, let's say it's the neighbor down the street who did something kind, and to them it was no big deal, they just did something nice. But for you, it was a critical moment in your life. And when you share what that moment was for them, it helps them heal. It does things inside of them you can't imagine. But by you showing the gratitude, it continues to heal you as well. You follow me? So when you keep doing this list, however, whatever sides of those categories, the positive contribution and the challenging contribution, but eventually they all lead to growth, right? As you go through this gratitude tour, you're helping other people heal as you continue to heal and resolve some unresolved wounds inside. Huge. Because remember, in this model, we're just broken and weak machines that break down for no reason. In here, it includes the emotional stresses and traumas that we have not resolved. But by carrying them, our body has to scream at us to let us know that we're carrying them. And they can show up like digestive problems and lumps in our chests and vision problems and however else creatively we need to get our own attention through this model. Yep. Powerful gift, the gratitude tour. So, don't let the pandemic be an excuse not to do that. However, if that's your paradigm and you choose not to travel or move, don't make it an excuse not to do it. You can do it just like this. You can do it on a phone call. You can do a Zoom call, Skype. There's all kinds of free ways that you can get in front of somebody and let them know what they did for you, what they meant for you, and how it's helped you grow and move on and heal and become who you are today. So, I would like to leave you with that, yeah? You got two models. Which one works for you? Take some self-inventory. Be courageous about that. And then take actions to clean up your house. And a great way to do that is the gratitude tour. So I want to thank you, Jeffrey, for allowing me to share that beautiful gift for everybody. So if this resonates, please share it. And if it doesn't, have a great day. Either way, tomorrow, 5:30, same time, we're going to dive into another piece, right? But it's going to go even a little more in your face about you've been lied to all your life. Cool? Because they tell us to follow the science. I'm going to do both. Show you how you've been lied to, and we're going to follow real science. Until then, stay vibrantly alive. Reclaim your power. Reclaim how amazing you are. Remember how amazing you are. And live full out. None of us have the promise of tomorrow. Tomorrow, 5:30. See you then. Have a beautiful day. Peace. Ciao.